So I was at the Luke Combs concert over the weekend and my much better half turned to me and we were talking about round zero, what I'm looking forward to, who I'm looking forward to seeing, and after probably, let's be honest, a 20-minute TED Talk is what it felt like. She eventually just looked at me and went, "Is there anyone you're not looking forward to watching to this year?" And that, my friends, is a video. Now, I'm not talking season-wide, but going into what could be one of the most even seasons in recent memory, who are the teams that I just don't have a whole lot of emotional enjoyment in at this point in time? Who are the teams that epitomize the saying, "I'll believe it when I see it"? Well, I've got 3 of them. So first of all, let's start with Gold Coast. Now, this might seem a little bit shocking considering my love for Sam Collins that I express on this channel as often as I can. I've also spoken about Ben King in a couple of preseason videos already. You can also see my 3 bold calls video for my breakdown on what I think Ben King can do this year. But I am really just going, at some point, with the history of this club, with the way that they were swept up or maybe a little bit overhyped maybe by the media in terms of what their performance could look like this year, or sorry, last year I should say, as they go into this year, I just don't really know where they stand. I think they've got a big problem in their forward line, and it's actually their smalls. I just don't think they're going to be able to get a whole lot of production out of their deep small forwards. Jake Rogers and Leo Lombard as starting half-forward flankers is going to be really interesting, young, exciting, all of those kinds of things. But outside of Ben King, yes, you've got Jed Walter there, but a second-year player, what to expect from him, we're not sure. And their small forwards don't really incite a whole lot of, I can't wait to sit down and watch Gold Coast play footy as an offensive juggernaut. And just looking at what they were able to produce last year, they were equal 12th in being points against. They were 12th for points for, 3rd in inside 50s and 9th in rebound 50 rate. So they were able to actually get the ball inside 50 and then just not score enough. A 3rd v 12th output there is just not good enough. And from a visual optics point of view, is that they are going to have to reverse that in a big way. Now, getting Rioli in is really good. Noble is going to be fine, I think. Does that mean Will Powell goes to a wing? That would be really exciting. Absolutely, it would be to see that. Maybe alongside a Nick Holman, for example, if you're going to go your offensive, defensive type wingers. Or Holman may be your guy forward of the ball that you rely on defensive pressure. We'll wait and see what Nick Holman's role looks like. But I'm not buying into the Suns at all until I see them produce on field. But if I will give them credit for one thing, Noah Anderson as captain, massive tick, and might go a long way towards keeping Matty Rowell at the club as well. Or do they know that Rowell is out the door, so Anderson as captain makes sure he stays? Let's now go to St Kilda. Now, St Kilda fans, because quite a few of you last year thought that I hated you and your footy club, which is absolutely not the case. My investment in the Saints this year was relatively high. My investment in them last year was high. I had them in my 8. And I was badly wrong. So I'm not anti-St Kilda in the slightest. And to be honest, it's the injuries that have made me go, that sucks. We'll see what happens, I suppose. And of course, the big one being Mateus Filippo. From the players that I love perspective, I am a massive Mateus man. And I just hope that he can be back to full fitness soon. Yes, it's awesome that Jack Sinclair and Max King have avoided preseason long-term injuries, especially Max King, because what they were able to produce last year up forward was not great, and Max didn't have a big year, as we know. So how that turns around, and that even was noted in their stats, a bottom 4 side in scoring last year. They were 5th in points against, so their defense was fine. That rebound 50 rate, 7th in the comp, was fine, and they were just not able to get the ball inside 50. And what was so troubling, or what is so troubling about that, is how is a team that is so good at rebounding not getting the ball inside 50, especially as a Marvel Stadium tenant? Like, that ground is built for overlap handballing, and you're just not doing it for some reason. And of course, the gripe with Ross Lyon, even when they were awesome in that 08 to 2011 period, was, are you willing to sacrifice 15% of your defense for a better offense? And Ross Lyon seemingly says, no, we are going to rely on the 15% to come organically. And it just ain't. And with Tim Membry gone, so you've still got Max King there, you're then looking at Rowan Marshall playing more forward, Cooper Sharman up there. Outside of Butler and Higgins as your smalls, I understand. That is a forward line that is inspiring no confidence in me. So until they prove me wrong, I am just looking at the Saints going, I don't really care how better Nazaya Wanganeen-Miller gets. And it's going to be fun watching Winhager and Owens and their young guys. It's going to be good. But it looks like, again, until I see it, it just looks like it's going to be another year of, and then they're going to go chase Tom Taccone. They're looking at their list profile and go, you know what's wrong with us? We don't have a $1.7 million ruckman. I know Luke Davies-Uniacke is going to re-sign at North, but what are we doing here? Seriously. And last but not least, we've got Melbourne, who are actually in quite a similar place to St Kilda statistically. It's just that they've got more and better A-grade players. So whatever you think of Rowan Marshall, Max Gawn is the better player. They have got an A-grader in Christian Petrarca. They could be getting a second one depending on how you feel about Clayton Oliver coming back. But again, the statistics between Melbourne and St Kilda look almost exactly the same, or identical, if you will. But the D's were 14th in scoring this year as opposed to 15th, 6th for points against. So again, that defense holding up really well. 14th for inside 50s, and they were the best rebounding 50 team per inside 50 conceded. So that's what rebound 50 rate is in the competition. So whenever you were conceding inside 50s, you were the best team in the comp of getting it out of there, and your work between the arcs was awful. Why would I be looking forward to watching that? Now, do I hope Matt Jefferson comes into the team and makes an impact? Absolutely. D track watchers look really impressed with Aiden Johnson. That would be cool, because I can't say I was a massive fan of that pick when it was read out. Happy to be proven wrong, though, as I am with any draft take. But from there, Trent Rivers into the midfield, I can get on board with that. Caleb Windsor taking another step. How Harvey Langford and Xavier Lindsay are going to go. Will Colton Tolstrup be able to take a step, another step, maybe as a high half forward, replace that Alex Neil-Bullen role? Would be awesome. And then you remember that the Cozzy stuff. Clayton Oliver is going to be closely monitored. Stephen May looks like he's just one snap away from ending his own career off the field. And I think the word is uninspiring, especially for those two. Gold Coast, I'm just annoyed at their history, but St Kilda and Melbourne they look to me as uninspiring as each other, but with the quality difference, I've probably got more faith in Melbourne than St Kilda, but I can guarantee you that I am not rushing to my TV and going, whoa, this is one of the most watchable teams of the year. It's just not happening. So, outside of the fact that these three teams are a little bit boring and not great between the arcs, what else do they have in common? Two things stand out to me in a massive way. One, they were in no man's land on the ladder last year, finishing, I think, 12th, 13th, and 14th, respectively, or 11th, 12th, 13th. So, what the hell do you do with that? First of all, right, you're not in the 8, you're not down the bottom, you're languishing. Don't love that for any of these three concerning their list profile. Now, I would argue that from a list profile point of view, Gold Coast and St Kilda have got an advantage there because their best players, not all of their best players, are 30 plus, whilst for the Ds, the aforementioned veterans are older than the best players or who could be in a couple of years' time at the other two clubs. But the other factor here is your ability to score. I know that we are not living in the 80s or 90s and getting, a massive influx of scoring. I know that. And think about it. In 2001, there were over 40 games where both teams kicked over 100 points in the same game. Like, that's nuts. And I remember in 2018, it was like round 21 that time, where every game on the Saturday was decided by under a kick, and that was awesome. One of those games being Hawthorn-Essendon, which in my opinion is still the best home and away game, quality game, that Hawthorn has played in the last 20-odd years, to be perfectly honest. Yes, the last game of 2012 against the Swans is up there, not denying that at all, but the Hawks did have to make a massive comeback in that game, so the first half's not really worth watching. I would argue the same as the Geelong game where Tomahawk kicks it after the siren also kind of applies there. But let's go to that efficiency inside 50. Scores per inside 50. So not goals, because inaccuracy can play a part in a lot of these things. You think of a club like Port last year are not as high on the goals as they are the scoring shots. So just think about that for a second. But scores per inside 50. How good are you at converting your inside 50s into scores? Well, these three clubs are garbage. You're looking at Gold Coast, who was 16th, Melbourne 13th, and St Kilda 12th. Scoring from your forward half, where you should be scoring from. Get the ball in your forward half, lock it in, score. Yeah, well, Gold Coast are 9th, but still below league average in terms of pure number. Melbourne 14th, and St Kilda were the worst team in the competition last year. North, West Coast, Richmond had them covered from scoring in the forward half. And then scoring from centre clearance, Gold Coast 12th, Melbourne 16th, and St Kilda 17th. If you are not able to generate scores from the two parts of the ground that you should be able to generate scores from, I just don't think optically it is going to make your club look fantastic as a visual experience for the fan at home. Neutrals are not going to be wanting to watch these teams, I don't think. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But what's going to draw you to a TV is either personality, flair, high scoring, or hate watching, which is kind of why people watch the Hawks, right? It's either fans are loving it, neutrals are getting on board the personality and the flair, or people hate Hawthorn, so they want to watch them implode, right? People will want to watch Brisbane this year because they've got a bit of personality there, they've got some flair, and they're the reigning premier. And they've got no Joe Danaher there, so you've still got some intrigue there. If you don't barrack for Melbourne, St Kilda, or Gold Coast, are you looking forward to watching them? Comment below, let me know. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. I will be back with another video this week coming on Thursday, which I'm looking forward to in a big way. Hopefully you are too. So let me know how you're feeling, let me know how you're going, let me know what you think of the video down below. And you absolute legend, enjoy the start to your week. You bloody deserve it.